In this video, we will review creating a table. To create a table, we simply click on Insert and Insert Table. You also have the option to use the table wizard. Either way is fine. I'm going to click on Insert Table and place the table on the page. One thing I would like to point out is if you would like a page break after the chart, you could place your table inside a rectangle. And to do that, you would simply click on Insert, Rectangle, place your rectangle on the page, and on the rectangle, right-click, Rectangle Properties, and select Add a Page Break Before. If I did this and then place my table inside the rectangle, then there would be a page break that precedes the table. I don't need to do that in this case, so I'm just going to remove this rectangle. It's not necessary for our purposes today, but that is something that you may at some point find helpful. So I have my table, and all that is needed for me to do is to place fields inside the table. I could add account name, client name, and we could create a list of positions. So here is a simple table that would show a list of positions. I'll also add the description and the account ID as the first column. And I'm going to resize the width of the columns. Next, I'm going to change the data type for the position value so that it's recognized as a number. I'll change it to currency. In the previous video, we talked about the fact that the report is set up with a tablix, as identified here. The tablix is a list, and the list is designed to support generating reports for multiple households or clients with one report execution. So when your report has a tablix as an element and you add a chart, the chart needs to be part of a group. In the previous video, we grouped the chart by account. I've removed that just to demonstrate that if we attempt to run the report without the chart as part of a group, that we will get an error message. An error message indicates that you need to add a group property for the chart. So I'm going to go back, select the chart, and under Details, Group Properties, I'm going to group the chart by household. Even though we have a household ID set up as a parameter, I'm going to still group the chart by household. So this chart will be a consolidated view of all of the positions in the household. I don't actually need to make the table part of a group, and I'm going to run the report as is, but then we'll see that we need to make some changes to the formatting for the table to display better. So I will run the report, I will select a household and a household ID, select View Report, and now we have our chart, and then beneath that we have our table. And as you can see with all the repetitions in the row data, that we could make some changes to the table for it to display better. So I'm going to go back into the design mode. And now I'm going to add a group to the table so that it's formatted better. The first thing I'm going to do is group the table by account name. And to do that, I'll select the table, and then here in the group pane, I will right-click on Details, select Add Group, and Add Parent Group. I'm going to group by account name, as well as add a header and a footer. So now we've added a group, and you can see the group includes the 3 rows from account name down to the last row, as indicated by the line that goes across each of these rows. The next thing I will do is add the account name in the second column as a field, and I'm going to actually delete the first column. I don't need this column. So now we'll have our positions in the table grouped by account name. I'm also going to merge these cells, and I'll add some shading to the account name row to distinguish it from the detail rows. So I will run this, and now we have our positions grouped by account name. As you can see, there's several columns where the rows are repetitive, so I'll actually remove those columns for the report to improve the formatting. So I will remove the client name and the account name, and I'm going to remove the account ID column, but before I do that, I need to move my account name group into the second column. So I'm going to actually split the cells once again, select the account name field in this column, and now I can delete this column and once again merge these cells. I'll resize the columns. And I'm also going to add subtotals so that the subtotals for the positions for each account are shown in our footer. So I'm going to right-click, select Expression, and the field I want is Position Market Value, and I want the position market value to be summed. So I'll add sum and put the position market value fields in parentheses. So now I have a subtotal for the positions. I'll label this row as total, and I'll also merge these 2 cells. So now, because of the group being comprised of the row labeled as account name, the detail row for each position under that account, as well as a subtotal row, this line indicates that those 3 rows are grouped. So when I run this, we now have our positions grouped by account name with subtotals at the bottom of each list of positions. I'm going to go back to design mode. I'm going to change the format for the positions so it's also recognized as a currency. I'll change the font to bold just to distinguish this from the other detail rows. And I'm going to add a grand total row. And to do that, I need to have a row that's outside of the group. So I'm going to right click, select Insert Row. I could add a row below inside the group, but what I want to do is add the row below outside the group. So now the total here will be a grand total of all of the positions. So again, I'm going to right click, select Expression. I want the position value once again as a sum. In this total will be the grand total for all positions, and I will also merge these cells as well as change the name of this column. Now I will run this again, and we now have the positions grouped by account name with subtotals and a grand total. There's additional formatting we could do. We could widen these columns, make some other formatting changes here to improve the look of the table, but this provides a basic overview of how to format a table and group your data so it's more organized. I'll go back to design mode, and one thing I will point out, which we discussed in our previous video, that our chart has been set up so small slices, anything under 3%, will be grouped into a single slice to avoid cluttering and overlapping the data labels. In future videos, we'll go into more details of how to format and how to design your reports with charts and tables, but this provides a basic overview of creating a table within your report.